Welcome to The Passion Pod with your host, Chris Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation.
Season 2, Episode 1.
Welcome back, friends, for Season 2. I'm humbled by all the support from our guests, listeners, sponsors, and all of you out there. I'm stoked for how far we've come in such a short time. Y'all are in for a real treat. If you love Season 1, Season 2 is only going to get better, so let's kick this thing off. Without further ado, today we have our most flexible guest. The younger, prettier, stronger, funnier, more photogenic counterpart for this episode. Welcome, everyone's favorite yoga instructor, Bianca Winter.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Fantastic. What's the best way for people to follow you and contact you? Like, they saw you on Instagram doing cool poses, and they're like, I need to do cool poses. How do they follow you? How do they get a hold of you?
Sure. So if you follow me on any social media platform except for Twitter, because I don't understand how to use that. If you want to hit me up or talk to me or contact me, the best way is probably through Instagram or...
What's your Instagram handle?
Bianca Winter Yoga.
Well, that's easy to remember. Cool. And that's spelled Bianca is Bianca, correct?
Yep. And then winter like the season.
Sweet.
Or you can hit me up on Facebook Messenger. It's probably the best way. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So I want to start this off. Let's think back for a little bit here. But remember when you were a little kid and you're in gym class, right? And you do the parachute, everyone's sitting down, and that type of age group of gym class. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. So I feel like it was around that time frame that my teacher was like, all right, before we play, we got to start stretching. So I would sit, and they make you put your legs out in front of you, and you reach, and you're reach. You can't reach your toes. And they're just reach further. So you reach further, and it hurts. Why in the world did you do that and then want to do that for a living?
Oh boy. So thinking back to that age, if my parents, for whatever reason, decide to listen to this, they'll laugh at this because I've always been cartwheels or moving or backbends or just doing something weird. I came from a really small town and a small school, and so we didn't have a lot of sports or anything.
Sure.
But I was always interested in gymnastics or doing stuff like that, and we didn't have that type of stuff at my school. But so stuff like that, in the gym class, I love that stuff. When we had our gymnastics unit in school, it was my favorite. I was obsessed with it, and I was doing cartwheels and whatever I could to, bend or whatever, I guess. I don't know.
That's funny because to me, I'm honestly just messing with you. I like yoga. I feel like it's because I'm an adult that all of a sudden I recognize hey, if I stretch, my back feels better. Mm-hmm. As a kid, it was just stretching wasn't comfortable. But I actually usually do, I was pretty consistent for a while, of this little 5-minute routine that I would do of yoga in the mornings. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of cracked my back and made me feel good. So I can understand where some of those things are from. Let's play a game. I want to play a game quick, if you're down, because I don't know a whole lot of yoga besides downward doggo, right? You do that and you do the running steps and it stretches out your thighs or whatever. So
it's called walking the dog.
The yo-yo move. I like that. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to start a timer, and we're going to do 30 seconds, right?
Yikes.
And in 30 seconds, I want you to list as many different yoga poses as you can think of.
Why?
Because I don't know any of them, so I want to hear what some of them.
So after I list them, are you going to do them? Are you going to make your own sequence?
You can make me do some. I'm totally fine with that. All right, so we're going to start in 2, 1, go.
Okay, so downward dog, plank, chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog, three-legged dog, runner's lunge, crescent lunge, warrior 2, reverse warrior, side angle, back to warrior 2, runner's lunge, forward fold, halfway lift, arms extended, Tadasana, inhale, halfway lift. Right now, I'm just thinking of a sequence in my head.
So our friends, you didn't get to see this, but she's doing with her arms and everything. She's doing, I can tell that was her routine at some point in time. She's instructing, and that's, how she was choosing to do it. So Of those, or in general, what's your favorite yoga pose?
My favorite pose is Shavasana. It also is called like corpse pose, which you literally just lay on your back, and it's typically at the end of a yoga class or whatever you're doing. You just lay on your back, and it's the final resting pose. So it's meant to fully relax and just be present. And for some people, that's really, really hard. For some people, it's hard to just like shut your brain off and relax a little bit. For me, I don't have a hard time with that at all. Like as soon as I lay down, I'm just out. I almost fall asleep pretty much every time in Shavasana because I can just relax. I like that one.
Yeah, I like it too. My wife did the 30 days of yoga with Adrienne on YouTube where she, each day you got to do the lessons or whatever. And I did them with her. And yeah, at the end, honestly, like yoga's way harder than I thought. I thought it was just like stretching, but it's not just stretching. You got to do harder versions of sit-ups and stuff like that. Like you got to do all this crazy stuff. But at the end, because you've been stretching and moving your muscles and stuff, your body feels good. All your like joints and stuff feel all loose. And then when you lay back totally flat and you let your shoulder blades touch and like just lay there with your shoulders back, yeah, it's pretty like relieving. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan of it for sure.
Feels really good.
I guess you'll have to help me understand this here. When I was a kid, I grew up skateboarding since like 99, since maybe 1999 or somewhere around there, 2000. When the first like Tony Hawk video came out, there was like a huge media burst of skateboarding. It was everywhere. It was one of the best selling video games ever. So every kid and their friend wanted to skateboard, me included. So I started skating around that time frame. And growing up, like I visited my first skate shop when I was 13, 14, something like that. And the guys at the skate shop I thought were the coolest people that ever existed, and I wanted to do that, even though realistically they were poor, like could hardly afford the burritos they were eating at the place, but to me I was like, oh, this is the sickest thing. Well, then I got into sales, and I did sales like through high school, went to college for business, realized I didn't need it because I was selling stuff, and worked my way up through management of sales, and eventually realized like, hey, I could just go back and open my own shop because I'm passionate about this and I know sales and management, like let's do it. So then I made a shop happen. 5.5 years later, and I'm kicking it here with you on the floor because you're a yoga instructor, so that makes sense, recording a podcast. But yoga instructor, like how does that work? I watched a yoga video on YouTube. Does that mean I can be an instructor? Or like how did you become that? Kind of like why, I guess?
Yeah, if you really wanted to, you could. But
certified yoga instructor Chris Johnson. Add that to my list of accolades.
Okay, so where it kind of started with me was I was just having some low back pain. And so I started doing yoga videos on YouTube. And I finally found somebody that really connected with me, and I was obsessed with her videos. And I ended up going on a retreat with her, which is a whole nother story. Finally, I started going to, instead of just doing YouTube videos, I ended up going to a studio in town. And I was in love with it. I was going all the time, almost every day. And it was probably like a year or two into going to the studio. And I was like into the gym a lot prior to this. And I just stopped going to the gym. Like the gym wasn't important to me.
Yoga was just like a way cooler version of like getting used to your body and getting where you need to be or whatever.
Yeah, like the gym, I was going because I felt like I needed to go. Because
I was doing that a little bit. Like I lost a bunch of weight years back, and it was like I gained a bunch of weight because I couldn't skateboard because I got hurt.
Yeah.
And then I was going to the gym to try to lose this weight, but realistically, like I just wanted to be skateboarding,
right.
And that like filled that need of like exercise or whatever.
Yeah, like the gym is like the cool thing to do if you follow Instagram people. It's like, oh, I'm going to the gym, and I don't know, it sucks. Honestly, I hate the gym. But yeah, I just started doing the YouTube videos, and then I started going to the studio, and I was going all the time to the studio to do yoga. And then I had teachers there that I was like, they were incredible, just really big role models. And they started saying to me, like, so when are you going to become a yoga teacher? And I was like, me? Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, yoga is really important to me. It's actually changed my life. I feel amazing. I've never felt better doing something. I don't know. Eventually, I was just kind of like, I'm going to go to yoga teacher school. I don't know.
There's a school?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Is that like at the Tech or what? I don't know.
No. So there's different organizations, like in Eau Claire even, there's places that you can become a yoga teacher, like a registered yoga teacher through the school. Actually, the studio I work at and the studio I was going to, it's Latitude 44 downtown, like incredible studio. A lot of the girls that were teaching there had gone to the school that I ended up going to. I trusted their opinions. They were all amazing teachers, and they all said really high things about this place. And so I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And so I did a little bit of research, not even a lot, because I was just Google. Like, I trusted them so much because they're all such good teachers. Yeah, then I was just like, I'm doing it. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what anybody says. And I have really supportive friends and family. But I was just like, okay, like, I'm going to go. And I did. And I went to yoga teacher school. I was there for 26 days on the beach in Mexico doing yoga.
Like a resort?
It was incredible.
I didn't realize that's how it works. So it's like a getaway, but while you're there, they're like, hardcore boot camp type stuff or what? Actually,
so you have different options. So when I went, there was a 16-day program and a 26-day program. And I'm the type of person that's like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so there was the two options. I was like, well, I'm definitely going to do the 26-day program. It was pretty vacation-like. Like, I was down there chilling on the beach or by the pool, eating really, really good food, connecting with people that just even thinking about them right now makes my heart just like explode because they're just amazing. It was like a vacation, but I was learning so much. Like, right. It was teaching all the way throughout the entire day. Like, we were always doing something yoga related. And it got to the point where we would get up early before our first class and teach each other yoga because we were just like obsessed with teaching and we all just loved each other so much and it was really cool. So yeah, from start to finish, basically I had back pain, started doing YouTube videos, went to yoga teacher school on a beach in Mexico, and now I teach.
I need to go to yoga instruction camp where the yoga is like bicep curling beers into my mouth. And then I'll do like one sit up and then lay back into Shavasana and just relax.
I don't know. Maybe I should start teaching like that.
That's like
start my own thing.
Yep. That's exactly where it's supposed to be. So my problem with yoga, okay. So I got a problem with yoga. Here's my problem with yoga. It's great. I feel good when I'm done with it. I feel motivated for my day. I'm like calm. My soul is so peaceful. Mm-hmm. But I can't get up and do it. The coffee cup looks so much more enjoyable than like stretching out in Warrior 1 or whatever the pose is. Mm-hmm. Second Warrior 2. Whatever. Doing the poses, it's motivation. Like, and I think almost everyone would agree. Bianca, I love your Instagram page. I gotta say, I mean, that's how I found you, I think. Hashtags of Eau Claire, so whatever. Found your page and I'm like, oh, here's this pretty girl. In the background, there's plants and she's like doing yoga poses. I'm like, I guess she's in Eau Claire. That's cool. And I follow it since and I see you. Usually it must be your house, right? With all those plants and stuff. Mm-hmm. So usually it seems like you're doing it there, but I've seen you do it like on rocks where you're standing in warrior poses and stuff like that. So I want to do a quick little practice here with you. Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. So first, close your eyes. Okay. Okay, close your eyes. You're doing Warrior 1, whatever the standing one is, okay? You're doing Warrior 1. Okay. I want you to breathe in and think, if you could be doing yoga anywhere in the world, I want you to paint me the picture of where your ideal location would be to do yoga. Okay. Okay. So I've never been here. My eyes are so closed because I'm really thinking about this. I've never been here. But my dream right now is go to Sweden. And I don't know why. Like, I'm just something about going to Sweden. It's because I'm Swedish. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. It's all, like, tying together here. Yep. I don't know. I've always been, like, attracted to, like, Sweden for some reason. Maybe it's the name. I don't know. Whatever it is. But I'm just picturing myself doing yoga in... this sounds really not what you'd think, but I'm just wearing, like, jacket, a hat, gloves, and it's snowy and really pretty. It's like sunny out. Just a nice day, like a nice sunny winter day. And I guess I'm in Warrior 1, which is the worst pose. It's so hard. But that's where I'm at, and I'm in Sweden. Probably on like a mountain or something. That's where I'm at. Wow, with snow all around, winter's in your name. That makes sense. Must be because you're from Wisconsin. That would make sense.
That was my previous Instagram, Winter in Wisconsin.
Oh, God. Puns galore.
Super funny.
That's awesome. So for me, I just want to live the island life.
Yeah.
And I've told people this before. They ask me, they're like, dude, you look like my dad. What's up with your shirts? Like, I don't really understand it. Everyone says that to me. Or my wife's like, you're wearing like gold bracelets. Like, come on. What are you, like an Italian grandpa? And I'm like, okay, look, I've heard this saying a long time ago, and I attached to it of, you should dress as your ideal self. And my ideal self is retired on a beach. So I wear aloha shirts and jewelry. And
Cool.
yes, I would prefer to be on a beach. So for me, I would be sitting on the sand, probably in Thailand. I spent some time in Thailand last winter. That was awesome. Go back to Koh Lanta, sit on the beach, and I would be trying to do Warrior One. Because Warrior One to me, I'm just like lunging.
Okay, so do you know what Warrior 1 is?
No.
Okay, because Warrior 1's actually really hard.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing downward doggo and people are looking at my butt. 'Cause I'm wearing like a little Speedo or something.
Okay, that's I like that. That's a good
So
one.
let's talk business a little. You kind of said this off camera, but where are you at with your career? Like, you're obviously, I would assume you would like to full-time teach yoga, but where are you at currently in that kind of like path, so to speak?
Yeah, so right now I actually work full time at my real job in quotations. Like,
What's a real job?
yeah, right. It's
You
the
make
job
money,
that
it's a real job, right? I'm making money on this podcast, so it's
Sure.
a real job?
I mean, I guess it's just like
know
the
what you
job
mean.
that's like paying my bills, and
Right.
I've been there for a while, and it's a good job, and I love the people there, and all the things. But I work full time there, like 50 hours a week, which is quite a bit. Yoga is kind of my side gig right now. So like I teach at Latitude, the yoga studio downtown, on Sundays. So if you want to come see me, you can come hang out at my classes. Otherwise, I also teach on Sundays also at Savage, the boxing gym. That's not as consistent because it's kind of my own thing. Like, they've been really cool, actually, like letting me come teach at their gym and,
Sure.
supporting me. And I don't know, that's really cool, actually, thinking about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think like a boxing gym in particular and yoga. Like, I mean, they're both exercise, I suppose, but I don't really picture those two groups of people
Yeah.
like connecting.
Well, my thought was like, if you're boxing, you're probably pretty strong and you're probably getting in some intense workouts. And so yoga would be a good thing to incorporate into your lifestyle because,
course, yeah.
Lengthening out your muscles and just getting that good stretch in and relaxing your mind. If you're doing boxing, it's very high intensity. So you just need that time to like come down too.
So that would be the same thing for skateboarders. Because I know there's skateboarders listening to the podcast. Sorry, I don't talk about skateboarding as much as you guys would hope. But after the session, it's time for some yoga.
I think you skaters would benefit from some yoga. Like your legs would really love some yoga.
For sure.
Guarantee it.
So for right now, you're still working a full-time job, but on top of it, since you don't have kids and stuff yet, you decided, I'm going to put this energy into yoga because I really care about this. This is something I'm passionate about. So for everybody that's listening, all my homies, sign up for some yoga classes so that way this lady can quit her stupid job and do yoga. But it was the same way for me, though. When I opened the shop, people ask me, how'd you get the money for it? Dude, it's not like I just got an investor. I didn't do that. I was told no by a bank. Okay. So what I did, I worked at Verizon making really good money. And once I decided I wanted to open the skateboard shop, I decided on my day off, or one of the two, I was going to work an open to close at the mall at Hellsberg Diamonds when I was the assistant manager there. Right. So I worked a 12-hour day there. So I was 52 hours a week working, saving all that money. And then on my only day off / the evenings or whatever other time I had off, and I had a 1-year-old at this time too. I was going to come to the shop and I was going to paint. And I was going to research like things I needed to do. I got in this space in January and I didn't open till April. I was working my ass off to get this shit ready. And that's expected. That's what's going to happen. It's not a traditional like experience where you go to college, you get an internship, you get a job from there. If you want to make something happen, it's going to be hard work.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people to do it because it's like definitely worth it, but it's going to be hard work. And that's going to be the same thing with yoga. It's very unlikely that you're just going to all of a sudden have this huge clientele.
Oh God, no. I mean, it's actually, a lot of people are intimidated by yoga because they think it's hard, or they're just kind of like, well, I'm not going to do yoga. Or some people have the mentality of like, I can stretch on my own, or, that kind of stuff, which is cool. Like, whatever, do your thing. But yeah, I also, when I'm not teaching at the studios, I teach private sessions, which I think are super beneficial for people who are beginners or are uncomfortable with being in a group session or like a group setting.
I think that's a big part of it is the embarrassment factor, especially like as a man. You talk about yoga and all of a sudden for some reason it's like this demasculating thing.
Yeah.
I've said that. Like I do yoga before I skate every time. And a really quick thing, I like sit cross-legged and I crack my back and then I do downward doggos and like I do a couple things before I skate. And I've told my friends like, yeah, you should do this with me quick before you skate. And they're like looking at me like, right. And I'm like, my hips feel better. Whatever. I don't have to justify like I'm straight, but I'm doing yoga. Like but I think that's a thing, at least with men anyways. There's some kind of like weird barrier there of like embarrassment.
Well, I'm not kidding. Every single person, when I'm like, hey, you should come to one of my yoga classes, the thing that they say to me is, I'm not flexible. Everybody says it. I'm not flexible. And I'm just like, okay, who cares? Like, you don't have to be flexible. Yoga is for everybody. Like, honestly, yoga is just breathing. Like, you could sit in cross-legged or however the you want to sit, as comfortable as you want. You could lay on your back. You could lay on your stomach, whatever. And you could just breathe. And that's yoga. Like, that's all you need. I don't know. And people are so intimidated by it. And I don't really know why, but...
Well, I would encourage people to hit up like private sessions for sure, because I mean, think of it like in a therapist type like aspect of you need to have things personalized. You don't have to, but it's going to be a lot better if it's personalized. And somebody who has gone to Mexico on vacation can then tell you, like, if you're doing what's best for your body or like, hey, I can tell that this is working for you. Maybe you should try this. Maybe you should try that. You just have that experience and can put people in like a good position, I guess, moving forward. So that way they know what to do when you're not around. It's not like they need you for every single one, but look at like personal trainers, right? People sign up for personal trainers once a month just to check in with shit. Like, why don't they do that with yoga?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that it would be a good idea.
If you're working with somebody as an individual doing yoga, it feels a lot more comfortable because you're not worried about what everybody else around you is doing. You're not like looking at the person next to you like, oh, their warrior 2 looks different than mine, because that doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what your warrior 2 looks like per se. I mean, you want to have decent alignment for safety of your joints or whatever, but it's really ultimately just kind of how you feel.
So if I text you tomorrow, which I don't have your phone number, but if I had it, if I texted you and I'm like, Bianca, I got a problem. My downward doggos don't look right. I'm doing warrior and you're saying it's something different than what I thought it was. I'm doing the upward, like, sit on my stomach snake thing. I don't whatever the fuck's called. I'm doing that and I'm like, I need a lesson. I need a private lesson. Can you give me a little breakdown of what people can expect as far as like pricing for lessons, whether they want to go to a group session or a one-on-one or something like that?
Sure, yeah. So I teach private sessions, and I think private sessions are super beneficial, especially for beginners or those who don't feel comfortable practicing in a group type session, or even like advanced people who just, everybody likes to be paid attention to. Everybody likes to be like, it's all about me. I don't know. I'm like that anyway.
I love to talk about myself.
Yeah, I love attention. But so for a private session, you can expect, so I do a 60-minute session. It's $40 for an hour. And in that session, you can expect alignment cues. Like, I'll teach you how to do poses based off like what your body needs. So there's like the typical what a yoga pose is, and then how it might look for you, because everybody's different. So for example, like, this is kind of random, but I have really short arms. And so for some things, like a yoga pose might look completely different for me than it might look for you, because you have long arms. So my yoga pose might look different from yours, but that doesn't mean mine's wrong or yours is right. So that's what's kind of cool about a private session, is you can learn that the way you're doing a pose is just fine. Like, you're fine.
But
whatever.
$40 seems cheap for anything personalized, honestly, because you pay more than that when you go to a gym and you like have a, have a personal trainer for an hour. So
yeah, and I tried to base
it
it around like what you would get as a personal service anywhere else. So if you go and get a massage, if you're getting a 60-minute massage, you're paying a lot of money, or acupuncture, or any type of body work like that. You pay quite a bit of money for that. So I thought $40, I was like, I just kind of want people to come do yoga with me. I want to teach people. I want to introduce myself and my yoga to others. And I don't want it to be in a way that's not accessible to people.
Yeah, you don't want money to be the problem and the reason why they don't hit you up. I think in general, like that dollar amount is pretty reasonable. And I've seen this with a lot of people who are self-employed, is people sell themselves short on what their value is a lot because they're too worried about like coming across as greedy or coming across as whatever. But really, just as a business tool, my suggestion to most people is to look at what the going rate is. Like, this is what it's going to cost if somebody Googles, I want to get a yoga class. If you look at what that dollar amount is, you look at who's offering that dollar amount, and you look at how you compare to that person.
Yeah.
Then you can, offer something that's more reasonable, than what they are, but still valuing yourself. Because if you charge too little, you're never going to be able to quit your job either.
Right. It's like, what's the point? That's not really
fair. But it is nice. So, I mean, I guess, again, I would say to all the friends, like, if you want yoga classes, now is the time. Because she's charging a lot less than normal. And you'll probably give that homie hookup down the line when you're working full time. I think self-love is something that people struggle with a lot. Especially in today's world, depression is just like a bigger and bigger problem everywhere, whether it's because of social media bullying or because people are spending less time outside, health issues with dieting. There's a lot of reasons, but depression's a very, very, very serious thing. And a lot of it, I think, comes from lack of self-love. People don't pursue careers that they care about. So, pursuing a passion is part of it, whether it's their job or not. Maybe taking photos is something that makes you happy, but you're not making money on it, so people say give it up. No, you need to go out and do those types of things. Yoga is obviously another form of self-love, any kind of exercises for that matter. Outside of yoga, what's a good thing for you that helps you with your mental or physical health?
Yeah, I like that. I always thought that self-care meant being alone and doing things like taking that time for yourself, which is important. It is important to say no and to be like, no, I need this time for myself. But lately, what I've found that has been very fulfilling and heartwarming is being around people that are genuine and loving and actually care about me. I think that's really important because, yoga, of course, is a form of self-care, like you said, but just taking the time to be around people that actually give a fuck about you means so much. Like, stop hanging out with people that don't actually care. Stop spending time or putting an effort into people that don't do it back. And that sounds super selfish, but it's not, because you have a life to live. You have one life. Why the fuck would you spend it with people that don't give a shit about you? I went through some stuff where I was working so much. Like, I was working my full-time job, staying super busy, doing all the things. When I'd come home at night, like, I was just like, God, I can't wait to get home and just like be by myself. And so I ended up isolating. Like, I was spending a lot of time by myself. I didn't realize like how bad that was for me. Like, I was spending way too much time by myself other than when I was at work. You look on Instagram or social media and you're just like, she's got it all. Like, she's doing all the cool things, or, she's whatever the fuck you think. But the reality is, like, you're still a person living through things. And once I had a good friend of mine tell me, like, that's what you're doing. You're isolating. You're not taking care of yourself. And I was like, wow, like, that is what I'm doing. I didn't even realize it. And then I started spending more time. Like, I started spending time with people that I knew meant a lot to me. And like this last weekend, I spent some time with my best friends and their family. And I feel so fulfilled now. I just feel like I'm filled up, like a full cup,
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
In every way. I think a lot of people, when you're in a job that isn't fulfilling, which is unfortunately a lot of people, and that's part of the reason we're talking, is hopefully more people will be inspired to pursue careers that help them be more fulfilled. Yeah, you want to be at home by yourself, and you tend to shut down. That's what it is. Put it this way, your life isn't about your work. Your life is your life. And sometimes you're able to incorporate your career into your life in a way that you're passionate about it and you care about it and you really love it. And then you don't want to shut down when you get home anyways because you're excited, But you can't let your work become your life. You can't become so tired and so depressed and whatever because you have to go to work the next day that it inhibits you from enjoying the time frame when you're not at work.
Right.
If you're in that rut, dude, it's time to go get like an efficiency apartment and work 20 hours a week at any random job to find yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you just really don't want to go down that unfortunate road.
Yeah. Say I like to use this analogy. When you're in life and you are in an uncomfortable situation, a lot of times you can't leave that situation. But when you're in yoga, you could leave that situation, but we choose to breathe through it. We're in an uncomfortable pose or we don't feel super good, but we're just like, oh, I'm going to hold this pigeon or whatever. And you're like there and you decide to stay and use the breath to stay. You can translate that over into your life and be like, I'm in this situation that sucks, but I'm going to breathe through it. I'm going to work through it. And I'm going to get through it, you know?
Just puts you in a really good mental spot.
Yeah.
I really think that's more important than almost anything else. Is if you believe you can do something, you can probably fucking do it. It's usually the fact that you don't think you can, you know, but if you believe you can get through a scenario, you'll be able to get through it. That's why I think mental health is such a significant thing that people need to pay attention to.
Oh, yeah.
And whether your diet or hanging out with friends that, you know, are valuable to you or doing yoga or whatever, like finding things that help you feel more fulfilled and help you put you in a better mental state will make everything else in life a million times easier, in my opinion. When you pursue your passion in the way that both of us are, you know, different ways, but we're both doing it, you get to experience crazy different than what the average person gets to experience.
Yep.
Because you're not getting that high from like a promotion or something, right? Like it's not that you get a raise and you're like super, super excited about or whatever, but you get to have different experiences that you get to look back on and be super stoked about.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first or should I share?
Go ahead. You can go first.
Okay, I'll give you another second to think about it. But yeah, think about an experience you got to have that you're really thankful for. So mine, shout out to my buddy Mitch, I got to be on a podcast. That wouldn't have happened if I still worked at Verizon. Why the fuck would anyone care what I have to say about it? Nobody would care. But I opened my shop and I was a couple years in or something. And I got asked to be on this skateboarding podcast out of the Twin Cities. And I was like, yeah, dude, that sounds kind of sick. And I went out there and like loved talking about myself. But I sat with Mitch and it was kind of just this like, You think people care what I have to say in the skateboarding community? You know, like you really think so? And then people were listening to it and it was just so cool to me. And it translated in from there of me going, I really like doing this. I want to do this for other people. I want to give them that feeling. And here we are, you know, it's like 3 years later. And even like the mics and stuff, shout out Mitch, you're the homie. And I know you're going to listen to this. I asked him about like some podcast stuff and he's like, hey, you want some equipment?
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, sure. Dude drove out from Burnsville to give me his mics and everything, like all of his equipment. And I tried to pay him, and he's like, no, it's yours. I'm like, holy shit. Oh yeah, here we go. You know what I mean? And now we're already on season 2.
Yeah.
But that experience only happened because I chose to pursue my passion for a career. So what's your experience?
So when I graduated college, I was like, I'm going to do something for myself. Like, I want to do something that I want to do. And that girl I said was like my inspiration in doing yoga on YouTube, Cole Chance. I started following on her Instagram and I loved her so much. I was just like, she is cool as fuck. Like, I love her. And she posted something about like a retreat in Guatemala. And I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go. And my friends were just like, you're going to go to Guatemala? And I like to do things by myself. And so I was traveling to Guatemala by myself. And my mom like fucking lost it. She was like, what about this and this and this? And I was just like, it's fine. Like, we'll be fine. I went there and it was life-changing. I have a hard time opening up to people and being purely genuine because I don't fully trust that people are going to be just as genuine back. But I think that's what everybody wants, is for people to be real and genuine with them. Like, what I learned from that is, like, if I could be the person to be honest and genuine and open, maybe that'll inspire other people to be genuine, honest, and open. And I learned that on that retreat. I learned that with those people. Because there's people all around the world that were there, and we didn't have a whole lot in common other than we just met up on this retreat together for whatever reason. And I can remember all of them and their names and the way they speak and what they had to say. And it was just so special to me to have that connection with other humans. And I think a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have those genuine, honest, fulfilling experiences with others. A lot of people just go through life and have ingenuine experiences with people. And so to have those experiences with others was absolutely life-changing. And it's changed my life from there because now I'm able to do that with others. I'm able to carry that with me. And then I went to yoga teacher school, same thing. It was the same situation, just fully opening up with others and crying and talking about really dark, deep stuff that you don't want to talk about, but you feel so good once you do to be around people that are willing to listen and care.
I think so many people are putting up this front of who they think other people want them to be.
Yeah.
And they're trying to fit that image, whether it's their parents or whatever, a lot of outside influences. And a lot of times your job also will do that to you. And it's one of those cool things when all of a sudden you're off on your own. In my situation, it's very similar that way of I open my shop and all of a sudden I don't really have role models around me. I don't have the best salesperson in the company to look up to their numbers. I don't have a manager to help me with whatever. I have no coworkers. It's just me doing my thing. And then I have to recognize and I have to accept, this is who I want to be, and I'm just going to do it, as I have no one to judge me. If you judge me, then why are you coming to my store in the first place? You know what I mean? You get to be so much more genuine, and then that definitely reflects with other people.
Yeah.
So I like to round off every episode with a piece of advice from both of us. It doesn't have to be life-changing, and remember, not everyone's going to listen to your advice anyways. Not everyone cares what Bianca Winter says. Not everyone cares what I have to say. This is just how I like to do it because I genuinely would like to help other people. So this is what I'm hoping will help. And you pretty much led me into mine. So I'll go first because of that situation. Here's my piece of advice. Let go of other people's expectations.
Yes.
Satisfaction can only come from within. The only expectations that matter are your own. It's your life. It's nobody else's. Identify what your needs and wants are. How can you achieve those things? It's important to consider other people's feelings, of course, but far too often we stray from the path we want to be on, only to try to please others. It's your life. Enjoy it.
Yes, that's amazing advice. I love that. My advice is, I have some friends that may listen to this and they might laugh at this, but my advice is to just show up. Show up to every situation. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, no matter who you're with, show up, be present, be aware, and enjoy what you're doing.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.